I hope everybody's having a good day. Specifically you who is watching. Today I want to talk about being the bar and being in college and it being hard. There's a lot of things that, if you're wondering why, like, I have a towel underneath my door, by the way, it's just to keep it from moving because my door is like rickety. But anyway, today I'd like to talk about what has happened today. This morning I went for a run, and that video will be going up before this. I want to talk about, just what's been going on recently. I went for a run, 4.3 miles, okay. And then I went to class, and I was just sitting in class, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm wasting my time, because there's just so much I have to know. There's so much I have to do, and it won't even be worth it in the end. I want to be a wildlife biologist, but I'd have to be in the oil industry to get, enough experience, which is the whole opposite. I don't want to destroy the world. I don't want to destroy God's creation just to have a shot at helping it. That's just no. I don't want that. So now I'm in a position where I'm just in the middle. Like, I don't want to be here, but I also don't know what I'd do without it. So here I am. I was talking about it with my dad. I told him, like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. So I pretty much told him. He was like, yo, like, and how I feel about it is that I would be letting everyone down. Now, not like, oh, like, I'm making everybody feel like, oh man. No, like, I promised something and I didn't do it. That's just, you're gonna naturally let somebody down if you promise them that, like, they're not gonna look at me any differently. Like, my parents won't look at me any differently if I just dropped out. But it's, I'm the bar. So those who look up to me, if I couldn't complete what I set out to do, then what are they gonna think if they, try to complete something, like, and they're like, whoa, if he can't do it, what are we doing? So that's where I'm at, and it's not a cool feeling, like, and I don't want to let myself down either. Like, that's another big thing. So here I am, and something just told me to go back to my old high school where I kind of learned what it's like to be more than yourself, which I explained in my other video. And I went to go talk to my old geometry teacher. Now let me tell you the story of how I got her as a teacher. I switched schools to the public school. The last year at my private school, I was taking Algebra 1. I was supposed to take geometry the next year, but this public school that wasn't organized, they gave me Algebra 2 instead of geometry. So, which is backwards, and they gave me geometry my senior year, which is just God's plan in my opinion. Like, he didn't give me geometry he saved her as my teacher for the last year, knowing what it'd do and how it'd affect my life. And so yeah, she was just a really great teacher. Like, she did more than just teach. Like, she would literally cry in the class when the students weren't listening. Like, yeah, I mean, that's how bad the school is, but also, like, she cared that much about the school. Like, so, and, when I was doing good in her class, everybody would make fun of me for it. They'd be like, oh, he's just smart. Like, you're like, bro, like, just discredit him. Like, and she'd be like, wait a minute, he's not smart, he's determined. And, eventually, like, she set out a goal, like, she would give anyone $20 who gets over a 700 on, like, the state test or whatever. And I did that, and she pretty much gave me a card saying, like, I'm glad to have you in my class, and, good luck on your next journey. I'm honored to have you in my class. And, or like, it's been a pleasure or something like that. And I saved that card, and, it really got me through college algebra last semester, and now that I'm thinking about kind of leaving this journey, I went back to the place that inspired me to make it out the mud, pretty much, which is cringy, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna use. So it is what it is. Like, so I'm literally driving to my appointment and get like stuff for my camera and stuff, and I just like hit a hard left to go to this place, and which was the school. And I get to the desk, and I'm like, I'm sitting in the car for 30 minutes because I was waiting for the school to like pretty much be released. And I'm like, what am I gonna say? I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna say. So I go in, I talk to the office lady. I'm like, yeah, can I speak with Miss da 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 da? She's like, yeah, I remember your name. And then like this other teacher was like, oh hey, like I recognize you. And then I'm like, yeah. I see a crowd of people from my track team, like, yo, that's him. How are you doing? Like, and like everybody's just so nice. Coach came out, and he was like, oh, that's a good kid, And then, Miss da 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 came finally up into the office. At first they were like, yo, we're not allowed to like have teachers talk to people that aren't like have nothing to do with the school, like whether you're not a parent, you're not anything, or so we're not allowed to have like, because for all they know I could be having some violent thoughts against her as like a former student, like, yo, I hate you, like I remember you gave me an F on that no, but yeah, so they were just, I thank God that like he pretty much just laid that out for me like that. And yeah, she came up and was like, yeah, like, hey, like, how are you doing? All this, all that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in college. She's like, yeah, and I'm in trig. I know you're teaching geometry and you taught us a little bit of trig. So, yeah. And she was telling her, like, yeah, it's getting hard. And she saw that I brought, like, my notes and stuff. And she was like, all right, let's check it out. And I was like pretty much saying, like, no, that's not what I wanted from you. I wanted to just thank you for everything that you did for me. And she was like, really? Like, I told her, like, yo, I kept your note from when I got over a 700 on the state test, and that really got me through college algebra. And she was like, really? Like, and like we just hugged it out pretty much, and I could tell that she needed that more than I needed, her, because in her position, like, no one wants to learn. And she pretty much was saying, like, yo, I'm like pretty much crying in every class, like it's bad this year. And I was just like, wow, I'm sorry to hear that, but this is why this school needs you. You've helped people like me, and and I was pretty much hope to her, just like a breath of fresh air, that like what she's doing actually is worth something. So I feel like she really, really needed that from me. So yeah, and that really helped me really gather my thoughts together and be like, yo, like, this is more than me, and I'm here for a reason. So what I wanted to talk about today was just like how people view people if they don't step up. And I feel like if I were to step away, and I'd be letting everybody down. And but you have to focus on yourself and see how it's affecting you. And what do you love to do? What makes you happy? I'm not saying you have to give up on something that's hard or is a pain, for you, but weigh it out on how it affects other people too, and how, like, just think about what's best for you. But we can't really do that unless we lean on God, because He knows what's best for us. So it's been a struggle, but just to recap, I'm still out of shape. I'm still just trying to get back to where I was. And I'm glad that you guys are on that journey with me. So, yeah, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That meant to be like a peace sign, but I was holding this in my hand. But yeah, we gotta figure something out. I'll just try to get as many uploads as possible, and just try to see where I'm at and get used to talking to the camera, get used to talking about myself, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty. But I don't expect much from these videos at all. You know, I'm just talking. There's nothing much to watch. So yeah, I'm just want to get through these videos, get through these topics, and tell you guys about me, so that way maybe you might be able to relate to something. So thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. And see you in the next one.